Hey guys, it's Kristen with Decorator's Warehouse. Today we're going to be doing all the things. We're going to do a great topper, ribbon, florals, and sprays. I'm going to be teaching you everything you need to know to create a designer tree in your home. And guys, this design does not disappoint. It's a beautiful color combination. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to be teaching you 4 simple steps that anybody can do. All right, guys, this is our crowning jewel right here, the topper, and I'm holding all of the stems because I want you to see what it actually looks like when we stick it up there. So let me break it down. Okay, we've got these awesome pine sprays, a lot of like textures going on in here, even like a little snowflake, which is so cute. So that's gonna be kind of our foundational piece. And then we're gonna come in with this nice tall berry. I love this one. I use it in tons of my designs, so you've probably seen it before. This one's just fabulous. That's what it is, because it's got jewels and a lot of sparkle and glimmer. And we've got a great beaded leaf. One thing I love to do when choosing pieces for my topper, I like a flat piece like a leaf, a round piece like a berry, and then something tall like the jeweled stem. And then we're gonna cap the topper with some florals. So I love these. We've got a beaded magnolia, and a poinsettia too. So again, we've got 2 different profiles going on here. It's gonna look great. I'm up on the ladder, and y'all, I literally think a Christmas tree decorator designed these ladders because they've got these great holes, which I actually think are maybe for paintbrushes, but you know what? They work awesome for our stems, so we're just gonna stick them there. And I'm gonna start with my bulkiest piece. So it's gonna come kind of like this. We don't want that. So open it up, just pop all of those branches out. They're wired, and then we're gonna place one here, and one here. Okay, when I'm going down with the first few stems, we're gonna use the greenery of the tree itself to anchor it into place. And just wrap that around, and it's gonna hold it nice and tight. Ta-da! And this one's gonna go over here, and then I'll do one on the back. Okay, this is not a super big topper, so I'm using just 3 of those, and then I'm just gonna use like 2 of these other stems. They're really nice and beefy, so it's gonna take up a lot of space. If you want a fuller topper though, I mean, you could use as much as like 7 of each of these stems. And then I'm gonna place this one over here symmetrically on the other side. Let's pull some of these like lower stems down too. It's all wired, so wherever we put it, it's gonna stay there. Y'all, this is my favorite. So pretty. So let's come in with these. And y'all, like sometimes you just gotta like jab this in there. And I do recommend like get down on the floor and look at it, because things look different when you're right here next to it versus like when you're on the floor looking for symmetry. So I always try to do that, and then I move things, I pull it out. That's part of the process. Okay, these are the florals, and I love them, but we're gonna put these right here at the base of the topper. This is like creating a transition into our tree. You're gonna love the look of it. I have 3 of these, so kind of 1 for each side of the tree. And when I do this, I want to bend this head up, and then we're gonna run that kind of straight along the pole. So it's doing a few things. It's hiding the logistics where we have all the stems. It's covering that up so you don't see it, but then it creates that, you know, carry into the design. So I'm just securing that in. I like the magnolia. It's a different profile. We're gonna do the same thing, but this one I'm gonna go kind of up, almost like more into the topper. Okay, now I'm gonna repeat that 3 times, 1 on each side. And then since this one's the magnolia, I wanna make sure I start with the poinsettia next. So that's there. This is gonna go kind of here and down a little bit. Okay, these are the ribbon choices, and y'all, they are yummy. This one is just a beautiful aqua, and it's got a great embellishment in the middle. And then when I'm pairing ribbon, I like to take kind of a showstopper statement and then pair it with something that's a little less assuming. So something that's textural or something that's solid like a velvet. But this one is gonna bring a little bit of sparkle and shine. That's why I love it paired with this beautiful velvet. And for this 9-foot tree, I'm using 30 yards of each, which is a good amount. So 30 to 40 on a 9-foot. If you have a really full tree, you know, grab an extra 10 yards of each. 20 to 30 is great on a 7.5 foot. for the sake of cutting it and making sure everything's the same size, we're gonna cut it together like one piece. So let's fold that, and then let's go ahead and cut at a diagonal. It's gonna give us that nice fishtail detail. And then we are going to pinch. And I'm showing you this close, and then I'll jump up on the ladder to place it. But we're gonna fold. So you can see I'm holding it here. And then we're just gonna tuck it there, and you're like pleating it. And then we're gonna do a hard twist. So that just brings the pretty side back to the front. And then let's go ahead and make a second loop. So it's just a simple 2-loop bow. It's gonna lead into our next billow. And then we're gonna twist. That's what it's gonna look like. Now let me jump up on the ladder. I'm gonna put this right at the base of the topper, and then since this is nice and wired, it's really gonna hold its shape as we billow out. We're gonna find a spot kind of right under the florals that we already placed that we can just tuck this in. So this looks good right here. We want it front and center. And then like I said, this is a good quality wired ribbon, both of these. So when we run our hand underneath, look at that nice billow that it's creating. So we're gonna go down just a couple branches, tuck, use the branches themselves to wrap it in place. And then like I said, we wanna open it up. So we're gonna pull it like this. And same here, you can open your bow up. And now I wanna cut a tail. So, you know, maybe 8 inches or so, let's go ahead and fold it. And then we're gonna do a diagonal cut. And then again, since it's wired, look what we can do. We can just give it a nice little fold there. Open those up. So that's already so pretty. So like our topper is complete and it's fabulous, but I'm gonna go ahead and continue the ribbon. All right, I'm coming in with my next continuation. Since I'm there, we're gonna come over here. We're gonna do a similar type process. So I'm starting with the tail on this continuation, and I'm gonna make a 1-loop, I call it a 1-loop bow. Technically it's not a bow, it's just a loop. So tail in a loop, see how pretty that is? I'm all about simple, and anybody can do the 1 loop. So we're gonna do something similar to this. So let me put that on the tree, and then we'll billow it out. Since this is a 5-yard roll, I'm left with a section that's pretty short, and we are definitely gonna use it. So let me show you something we can do with the shorter section. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a tail and fold and twist. So see, it's just a simple 1-loop tail situation going on. We're gonna find a little spot that needs some color and just tuck that right in there. So we never waste. That is a sin in Christmas decorating. And it's perfect because it's just giving us the color where we need the color. All right, I'm gonna continue the ribbon, working the same process all the way through. If I'm here, then I'm there, then I'm gonna come here and zigzag through the tree. My ribbon's all placed, and I'm moving into my next layer, which is my florals and stems. And I'm gonna start by creating some floral clusters, which are groupings of flowers and sprays. We're gonna throw them in this tree, and it's gonna be fabulous. Usually I'll use 3 to 4 stems in a cluster. Guys, this is kind of like a cheater stem because it has a lot of different things going on. So I'm just actually gonna use this 1 stem as the base. And then I'm gonna come in with the same florals we used at the topper. And what I wanna do is I'm gonna lay them on top. We wanna marry these together so it looks like it's all one piece. Like we went to the store and bought it this way. So let's place the stems together. We're gonna angle that head out. And then I've got my magnolia. Same thing, run it along the base and angle out in the other direction. So it's gonna look like this. And then I know I say this every time, you don't have to connect them, but if you want to, which makes for easier storage, wrap one of the stems around it so it creates one piece. And then at the end of the season, boom, throw it in the tubs and it's all done for you. So simple. So what I want to do with these, you know, we've got the florals here at the top. So now I'm gonna come maybe like this area, and then I'm basically zigzagging through the tree. And a good rule of thumb as far as quantity, shoot for the size of your tree. So for example, I have a 9-foot tree, not counting what we have up in the topper. I'm going to use 9 floral clusters. And I'm not doing the back of the tree too. I always say, like, put your money where you can see it. You do want to get the peripherals because, you know, that doesn't look great if it's empty there. But as far as like what's up against the wall, we're not going to see that, so I'm not putting my money there. And we want to work with the shape of the tree. So the tree kind of cascades down, so we're going to run this upward so it's cascading off the branch. And then I'm just going to attach it to the branch by twisting the stems around it. So I've got 8 more of the clusters. Now I'm just going to keep adding them through the tree in that zigzag formation. I'm there, I'm here, I'm probably going to add one in this area, and so forth. Okay, now I have my single stem flowers. I really love this one. It's a nice color. Does it match my shirt today? And this one, and I have 9 of each of these, 9-foot tree. Now I'm basically coming in between the clusters that are already placed, zigzagging through the tree, and I'm going to work one style at a time. All of our single stem florals are placed. My favorite layer starts now. This is all the sprays where all of the texture and dimension and that like yumminess comes into your tree. So single stem sprays, and when I say sprays, I'm talking about, you know, stems like this with height. And what we want to do is we want to pull in a lot of different textures. So you know, if I did a tree and every single spray was a berry, I don't think you would like the tree. So we want to make sure we have some that are like leaves. I'm using that jeweled spray that I used in the topper. It's so good. And then I've got a few different berries here in different colors too. So kind of a matte platinum. Our dewberry stem, you've probably seen me use this before because I love it for everything. I love it for wreaths. I love it for garlands. It's just a good, it's a small stem, but it opens up so it gives a lot of texture. And then that same crabapple that we used in the topper, this one's great too because it's really big. So when we pop it open, look at this. See what it's doing? And then I can just run that up in the cascade of the branch and it just falls off and it's beautiful. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna go through with all of these stems. You know, I have 9 of each. A few of them are in my topper, but 7 to 9 of each, and just gonna go zigzag through the tree. I'm gonna do one style at a time, and you're gonna love the end result. So if you decide to add one thing to your tree this year, well, you know I love ribbon, but if you're already doing ribbon, make it sprays because this is a great addition to your tree. Last layer is our ornaments. So we're gonna use a couple different options here. I've got some nice shatterproof in the pearl finish. I love this one. It's a matte kind of velvety texture. And then I love like the shimmer and shine of the pine cone. So we want to use some bigger items too. So I'm going to place all these, and then I have a few glass styles that I'll add on last. And I'm going to start with our shatterproof. I've got just a little piece of floral wire in there, and I'm going to tuck these into the tree. Push them back just a little bit and then wrap that floral wire around the branch. We want it to hang close to the branch. And some of these I'll do a little bit deeper in to hide the pole. Okay, last but not least are our beautiful glass ornaments, and these do not disappoint. So I've got a really heavy like mercury glass with this leaf. We are going to use floral wire on this because it is heavy. And then I love like the patina on this one. It's got like some jeweled detailing, couple different shapes. So there's like an onion and a finial. This one has a really nice texture to it also. So it's like a real pretty green. There's 3 shapes of this one. So we have an onion, a finial, and then there's also a ball. So for the last little bit, I'm just gonna zigzag them through the tree. For this part, look kind of where your holes are, and then that's where you want to fill in with the ornament balls. And because we have so much floral and spray and ribbon, usually I don't use a ton of ornamentation, so this is just kind of acting as filler. All right guys, that is our 4-step process, which is really just a layering technique that can make a designer out of anybody. So we started with our topper, we went into our ribbon, we did all of our florals and sprays, and then we ended with our ornaments. If you love everything that you see here, this is actually one of our bundle packages, so you can get all the flowers, ribbon, ornaments, sprays. We ship it to your house, and then you have the video so you can recreate it in your home. It's so simple. Businesses love them, or if you want to take your home to the next level, it's a great option too. If you like individual pieces you saw here, they are available in our Oh Holy Night collection at decoratorswarehouse.com. We'll link it in the comments. Thank you for watching. Happy decorating and Merry Christmas.